Hi everyone, welcome to Dhan's YouTube channel. Today we have a very exciting guest with us, Mr. Shrinivas, who heads digital business for Mirae Asset India. Hi Mr. Shrinivas, we're excited to have you here with us to discuss all about small cap investing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on this wonderful channel that you guys have started. It's a very well watched channel, and it's my privilege to be here today.
Thank you so much for your kind words. I think just to get this started and just to set some stage for our viewers, firstly, I wanted to understand if you can help us out with what truly captures the essence of small cap as a segment and small cap investing in general.
So I think when you look at globally, this is not a concept which is very well versed out because globally
People have moved into themes of investing, and themes have large cap, mid cap, small cap, everything. Because of definition in India, we still have large caps, the first 100 stocks by market cap. Then you have the mid caps, which is the next 150 stocks. And then you have the small cap, which is 251 to 500. Now, when you look at small cap businesses, I think the Indians understand that leg very well. It's because most of Indians are entrepreneurs. Most of Indians have their own businesses. And as an investor and as a business owner, running like a tight ship is something which everyone understands very well. So those sort of businesses, people understand what's happening and how it's growing. And over the last few years, the small cap space has also exploded. And we are also seeing a lot of growth in beyond 500 names. Just to give you one context, in 2019 when the categorization came in, the small cap 500 stock was about 2,000 crores market cap. Today it's 9,000 crores market cap. The 1,000th company was about 458 crores market cap. Today it's more than 2,000 crores market cap. So people have now realized the value of businesses. And if you look at India itself, the kind of growth we are seeing in the markets, it's a lot to do with these unorganized to organized, unlisted to listed. And a lot of them are coming from this space because there is uniqueness of business which people are looking forward for, and that's getting a lot of attention. So I would say anything for an investor who understands a piece of movement which is happening and he can link it back, you will generally find it as part of the small cap space or the mid cap space. The larger businesses are in large cap, the bankings, the power, the energy and all of that. But if you talk about consumption space, if you talk about transportation space, leisure activities, most of them fall under this space.
Right, very well said. I mean, आपने एक point बोला था कि a lot of people these days now they have their own startups, right? They understand what a small cap is.
Right.
And followed by that, you also mentioned कि the growth potential is a lot, right? When we're looking at a lot of companies these days, which are categorized as small caps, but we also see them like there's immense growth potential there. So, abhi just 2025 has begun. What do you think, how will this year shape up in terms of this segment, in terms of the small cap segment? Any major trends that our investors should, know of or they should be prepared for that you have in mind?
So if you look back at the history, अगर 2011 से आप 2022 तक देखोगे, प्राइवेट केपेक्स कंट्री में नहीं हुआ है. इनफैक्ट इट इज़ degrown. 23, 24 we saw little bit spurts coming back. So that's a movement which has to happen, right? And if you look at all the sectors जहाँ पे केपेक्स, प्राइवेट केपेक्स साइकिल अगर रिवाइव होगा तो वो कौन से सेक्टर्स है जो सबसे ज़्यादा बेनिफिट करेंगे. So you have your capital goods segment, you have your real estate segment, you have these transportation companies, some of the auto component companies and all of this. Now a large portion of companies actually fall under small cap. It's about almost 70 companies which whenever private capex cycle revives, there are about 70 odd companies which fall under these subsectors. ये small cap में है, mid cap में around 30 है और large cap में about 20 है, right? So ये spectrum है. So anything, if this year is the year for revival, if everybody is taunting about interest rates cuts to happen, then the immediate benefit goes to all companies which are in this, and that should sort of play out. So we feel that while if you look at valuations today, maybe it looks like your large cap space is available for cheap, relatively looks like, but could be a 1 year, 1.5 year story. But if you're looking to deploy money for next 5 years, then between mid and small, I think small is much better positioned.
एक नॉर्मल इन्वेस्टर के लिए स्मॉल कैप यूजुअली हाई रिटर्न से एसोसिएट होता है, बट साथ में देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ हाई रिस्क इन्वॉल्व्ड इन इट एज वेल. सो what is your mantra to balance the risk return ratio when it comes to small caps?
See, I think investing in generally risk के साथ आएगा, right? So that's a given. Now, when we have to look at deploying new money, एक है आपका ऑलरेडी पोर्टफोलियो है, राइट? अब उसमें स्मॉल कैप का वेट्स कितना है, उसमें मिड कैप का पोजीशनिंग कितना है, लार्ज कैप का वैल्यूएशन कितना है, दैट इज इम्पॉर्टेंट. नाउ इफ यू आर गोइंग टू डिप्लॉय मोर मनी टुडे, देन इट्स ऑलवेज अ ट्रेड ऑफ बिटवीन कि कहाँ रिस्क सबसे कम है और कहाँ रिटर्न सबसे ज़्यादा बनेगा. सो इफ़ यू आस्क मी व्हाट इज़ पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट, portfolio management is the ability to generate the maximum return with the minimum risk, right? That's the simple bottom line. Because ज़्यादा रिस्क लेके ज़्यादा रिटर्न आप बना सकते हो, लेकिन कम रिस्क लेके आप कैसे ज़्यादा रिटर्न बना सकते हो? तो वो कम रिस्क क्या है? कम रिस्क इज़ नथिंग बट आज के टाइम पे कहाँ पे हर्ट कम हो सकता है, कहाँ पे आप ज़्यादा पोजिशनिंग कर सकते हो और आपको एक पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ रिटर्न दिखती है कि यहाँ से शायद you may not slip further, maybe you slip a little bit, but then you get the longer sort of innings to play there. Now in generally हमने ये देखा है कि small cap का जो cycle है, most of the times that money is made in 18 months to 24 months in a cycle of about 4 years. Now when it happens, nobody knows. So you look at the surroundings, you look at valuation, you look at whether it is at premium, whether mid cap is at premium to small cap, or whether large cap is at premium. So you have to look at all of that. Why small caps generally have more risk? Because see, markets, we generally talk about what markets will give. अगर पिछले 10 साल की आप हिस्ट्री देख लो तो रोलिंग रिटर्न बेसिस पे निफ्टी has generated about 12.86%, right? So let's consider 12.5% just as a sample, right? Now that's something which your broad index will give you. The main index is going to generate and give you. Now, if you want better than that, then of course you have to step into the mid cap game. Right. If you want better than that, then you have to step into the small cap game. Does it mean 12.5% does not come with risk? It comes with risk. Does it mean the next, the mid cap will not come with that additional risk? It will come with the additional risk. And same with small caps. So it's a journey. Now, what you want to generate, what's your goal and what percentage? See, today your GSTs are there's a basic need at 5-6%, right? Little bit of luxury items should be at 18%. And the grandeur items will be at 28%. So you need to also take into account of all of this in your planning, that how much more you want to generate. So risk is there, and our job as a investment management company is to bring products, but at the same point of time look at the available opportunities and look at whether we are able to give you that at possibly lesser risk, right? Because there will be periods. Now, Jan 2025 is not equal to Jan 2024 if you look at it, right? So probably bringing a product at that point of time, starting some portfolio at that point of time, probably the experience may not be well. So now it's time about that possibly you're there somewhere, you will never be able to time the right timing. But if you're around that time period, then there's a high possibility that you can get it. So in that way, the risk could be minimized. But again, it's something which will only play out over a period of time.
अब जैसे आपने पूरा एक्सप्लेन किया कि कैसे रिस्क भी होते हैं, बट वी ऑलवेज ट्राई दैट इन द मिनिमम रिस्क व्हाट इज द मैक्सिमम रिटर्न दैट वी कैन जनरेट व्हेन इट कम्स टू दिस. एक एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं. नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द फैक्ट दैट देर आर 3 इन्वेस्टर्स. एक इन्वेस्टर ए इज समवेयर इन द एज ग्रुप ऑफ 25, B 35, C 45. Now A has longer duration and has higher risk capacity. B has like a mid sort of a duration left and like medium risk capacity, and C के पास duration comparatively कम हो गया and risk capacity भी comparatively कम हो गई. अगर ये चीज़ें ध्यान रखते हुए हम अगर डिस्कस करना चाहेंगे कि what would be an ideal percentage of small cap in each of these investors' portfolio, what would you say?
Let me give you some history of India and then I'll reverse the question to you. Okay? जब देश आज़ाद हुआ, matriculation examination was the benchmark. If you have आप matriculation complete हुआ है तो आपको job मिल जाएगा. And generally that was at the age of 17, 18. वो हो गया, they used to start working. They would retire at 60 पे retirement, and average age at that point of time was about 57, which means that possibly they lived about 2-3 years more after retirement and they would be no more. Medical advancement उतना था नहीं, correct? As every decade has passed, the educational qualification age is going up, और आपका retirement is now becoming 58 and your post-retirement age is going up. Right? So now it's come to a stage कि आज जब बच्चे पढ़ाई करके निकल रहे हैं, शायद 24 से पहले प्रॉपर जॉब मिलना मुश्किल है, बिकॉज क्वालिफिकेशन इज़ वन पार्ट. आप ग्रेजुएशन कर रहे हो, फिर पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन कर रहे हो, उसके बाद नाउ यू हैव टू डू समथिंग मोर, करेक्ट? So by the time you find a stable job, you're almost 24. And most of the young people we talk to, and your friends also, if you go and ask them, they'll say 50 के आगे काम नहीं करना है. So what is it leaving? It's leaving you 25 years to generate wealth, which is going to last you, because probably you'll live till 80. देखिए, our lifestyles are going to give us some unique troubles in our body, but the medical advancement is going to make sure that you live long. So if you're going to retire at 50, 55 and you're going to live till 80, you need another 25 years of wealth to sustain. So that old formula of 100 minus age is equal to your equity, I think is getting challenged a little bit. Okay? So equity exposure chahiye. Now within that equity exposure, what sort of lifestyle you want to fund? Whether you're 25, whether you're 30, whether you're 40, 45. For each, it's moving in a similar direction. Maybe the flavors are different. And hence, exposure to small cap, whether you are at 20 years, 25 साल के हो, 30 साल के हो, 35 के हो, 40 के हो, 45 के हो, थोड़ा बहुत exposure तो होना ही पड़ेगा. And that is because we discussed earlier, right? कि आपको 12 market दे रहा है. If you want more than that, then you'll have to go a little bit beyond. And that's where the risk also comes in, and that's how the returns will also get generated. Of course, they will be volatile returns. They will not be in the same sort of course, large cap is also, equity is volatile. So overall it's there. But that is an opportunity people should look at. मुझे नहीं लगता ECG flat होगा तो किसी को अच्छा लगेगा.
बिल्कुल, that makes sense. And also the fact कि जैसा आप बोल रहे थे that when we talk about like wealth generation, what is our end goal basically will define that हमारा कितना allocation हो रहा है across these segments, right? But usually small caps को ऐसे देखा जाता है कि they'll just be there in our portfolio for like shorter durations. कभी भी उसको उस पर्सपेक्टिव से नहीं देखते that they'll help us build wealth in future. अगर आजकल if you talk to people, if you want to build wealth, yes, you invest in mutual funds for sure, but you usually invest in long-term mutual funds जो कम volatile है, कम risky है, and you know that okay, they're gonna give you like higher returns. But small cap को उसमें में नहीं देखते. What do you have to say when it comes to कैसे small caps contribute कर सकते हैं in a person's, in an investor's wealth creation journey?
This is an excellent question, because when you look at this segment largely, or even thematics for that matter, फिर वो आता है कि इसको हम tactical play करें या ये core में होना चाहिए and all of that. आप last year पिछले एक साल का रिटर्न आप देखोगे ना, तो निफ्टी कंजम्पशन इंडेक्स में हैव outperformed large, mid and small. Now how do you put that into perspective, right? Over a long period of time also, it has done that. Now, when we are talking about small cap investing, see, one thing is for sure that what is the cycle of a small cap? Let's understand that first. You want it to be identified early, and then it graduates to mid cap, and that's why you make money, right? So if you look at data, 2010 to 2015, 54 companies went from small cap to mid cap. Last 5 years, 86 companies went from small cap to mid cap. Now that's a journey you want, and you also want some supply which is coming from the bottom, from 500 to 1000 companies का भी supply ऊपर आ रहा है, so that this keeps on rolling. Otherwise you will not have that much of opportunity left. So while your main core portfolio, see, you build your home, then you build your second home, then you go build a third home, which is a farmhouse or something. Now your home is still your home. That's the core of the, you're going to live there. You're going to only live 3 days maybe somewhere, 4 days maybe somewhere, but it's nice. It's a good journey to have. So core of the portfolio will always be those few holdings or few mutual funds which will give you that long-term return. But as we are sort of, as the country is changing, we saw that during COVID, work from home. So we like those places. We want to be there for longer periods of time, and probably we want our home to be like that. Right. So that is a changing pattern, and people are now looking at longer allocations to small caps, to mid caps as funds. Not that large cap is getting compromised because of that, it will be there, but a good mix is always healthy. Yeah. Correct? So should we look at small caps only by that lens, that it will give you something like a compounded return over smaller periods of time or absolute returns? But history is telling you that if you had done a 10-year SIP in mid cap, it generated 26%, and small caps it generated about 26.8%. Sorry, 28%, so around 1.7 percentage points more. So over longer periods, even if you look at say Nifty 250 index, the small cap 250 index, it's been in existence for more than now 20 years. And 20 years is a lot of cycles. 2008 bhi tha, 11 to 13 worst period of the economy. Then you had the COVID period, then you had the war period and all of that. Yet it has delivered over a longer period of time. Right. So if you hold them for longer periods of time, it's good. The only thing I will say is, like in any other portfolio, do review it periodically. See, your commitment to your funds should be perpetual. Which funds is basis performance? Commitment to SIP should be perpetual. Which SIPs you evaluate how it is going. Because volatility mein you have to take that opportunity. I think one mistake which probably people end up doing, कि बहुत लोगों ने SIPs तो करी हैं small cap में, but sometimes they tend to overlook the opportunity when it's presented to do lump sum investing. Because lump sum will give you that one-time push-up boost, and SIP will help you capture all those points. like Monday, if you had a SIP running, you caught the price. If you didn't have the SIP running that day, most of you were waiting कि कल देखते हैं.
हाँ,
And it's gone.
right. That makes sense. So, just following on to that, आपने एक point बोला था कि it is good if you end up holding a small cap for a longer duration, right? But usually again एक investor का mindset ऐसा रहता है कि अगर उसने ये सोच के भी रखा होता है that I want to invest in a small cap or stay invested for let's say over a 10-year period, फिर भी closer to like the 10 years, let's say in the 9th year अगर एक portfolio में dip आता है उनके, वो natural psychology होती है that they end up selling it. They end up redeeming from the fund, right? Now, what do you have to say in this? अगर मैं इसको ऐसे put करूँ कि when it comes to specifically small cap funds or small cap in general, it is a game of psychology rather than just the returns or the risks that it has. अगर हम लोग maybe psychology पे उतना control रखे या उतना ध्यान दे, so maybe we can actually make the full use of the potential that small caps have to present us. What do you have to say about something like this?
I have just one line answer for it. Goal investing. Now, a lot of people ask कि goal investing का actual मतलब क्या है? Goals actually help you exit. Without a goal, आप exit नहीं कर पाओगे. And most of the goals are time bound, return bound. I want say 20% compounded return over say 15 years. Okay, that's my goal. If your 20% compounded return आपका 12 साल में achieve हो गया, take it. Because there is no goal, you're stuck.
Right. So basically, it helps you define कि exit कब करना है, and that is what.
So आपने जो कहा psychological, वो बहुत भारी वर्ड लगता है कि यार ये तो फिर टेक्स्ट बुक ज्ञान हो गया. बट अगर आप उसी को गोल में कन्वर्ट करो, बोलो कि ठीक है 10 साल में मुझे इतना पैसा चाहिए, और अगर वो 8 से 20 साल में बन गया है, आप ले लीजिए.
बट वहाँ पे फिर ग्रीड आ जाती है ना कि अगर
वो कंट्रोल करना बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है.
सब कुछ अल्टीमेटली है तो साइकोलॉजी से ही रिलेटेड.
अभी आई विल गिव यू द इंडियाज रिचेस्ट इंडिविजुअल टुडे और द फैमिली, उनका नेटवर्थ विल बी कैलकुलेटेड बाय हाउ मच दे ओन इक्विटी, right, multiplied by the price which is coming on, right? But who's protecting it? If you go and ask their treasurer, he'll say मैं तो bond में लगाता हूँ. Because once you've created something, it's about protecting it. So आपका अगर पैसा बन गया है, that was your goal at that point of time, then it's about time for you to sort of then take a call that okay, now maybe I'll leave little bit behind, I'll take off a major chunk of it, and that I'll use for whatever my goal was. बाकी compound होने दो.
Right. So basically वही हो गया, right? You should know when, like, how to protect your profits and how to protect your portfolio, like in general.
It's up to you now.
Right.
Because अभी बहुत सारे हम देख रहे हैं, even on your platform, a lot of DIY investors are coming and taking their calls,
Yes.
right? They are not being, maybe they are doing their own research. A lot of times when they are taking advice from someone, कोई उनको बताएगा. But अगर कोई,
Most of the times कोई बता रहा है.
हाँ,
Even if they call DIY, it's
Yeah.
usually bases a lot of inputs that other people have to give them, and what we usually see
Correct.
happening.
so वो greed should not sort of set in.
Yeah.
It's good to sort of be quoting Wall Street and saying greed is good, but when it comes, and you're absolutely right, वो 10वें साल में जब पैसा चाहिए, उस समय अगर there is volatility and it gets impacted, then you will sort of, and if you are in money, if you're not in money, I understand, but if you're in money and then the volatility is hit, then it's a big sort of, dent on your thing. But history also tells us that if that period has been volatile, then the next 1.5 years you see recoveries.
Right.
So then you will have to
Wait.
sort of expand your horizon a little bit to cover up for it.
Now I have like a few quick questions that I would like to ask. Kind of like a rapid fire, but it like आप 2-3 लाइन में उसको आंसर कर सकते हैं.
स्लो रैपिड फायर, ठीक है.
Like a slow rapid fire.
ओके.
ठीक है. अगर कोई इन्वेस्टर की 60 to 70% ऑफ लाइफ सेविंग्स ड्रॉप होने के बाद भी वो उसको सेल नहीं कर रहा है, ही इज नॉट रिडीमिंग, ही इज नॉट कमिंग आउट फ्रॉम दैट फंड, do you think that investor is ideal to invest in small cap funds?
That's an interesting question. That portfolio valuation अगर इतना down हो गया है, again I'll say that it's about to why is he invested it for over a period of time, right? And if he feels that it is something which is it's a part and parcel. See, most of the times market cycles are about for 3.5 to 4 years. Money generally is made in 1.5 year. Which period nobody knows. So then you're an early cycle investor, mid cycle investor, late cycle investor. So if you've made money immediately, then the later part is going to hurt, right? Or it's going to be flattish. If you have made in middle, then you understand, okay, there was a bad time, अच्छा time आया, फिर अभी खराब time आ रहा है, right? और अगर पहला पीरियड बहुत ख़राब था, मोस्ट ऑफ द इन्वेस्टर्स प्रॉब्ली व्हाट यू आर सेइंग 60-70% डाउन ऑन अ पोर्टफोलियो इज़ लाइक अ ब्लैक स्वॉन इवेंट. अभी तक मेरे ख्याल से इंडियन हिस्ट्री में 3 इवेंट्स ऐसे हैं, 4 इवेंट्स होंगे. 92 का होगा आपका .com पीरियड, देन 2008 एंड देन कोविड, राइट, वेयर यू हैव हैड मेजर ड्रॉ डाउन्स. बट इवन दैट आई डोंट थिंक 60% 70% हैज़ बीन डाउन. सो and if it has been down, then I think the recovery has also happened in next 2 years, right? So, but that is an investor who's seen a pain period and then sees a return. I think then they become strong in metal. That this is a cycle. This is what happens. And if they've learned that and they have seen cycles and they have seen small cap cycles, then they will also know that, okay, this is how a cycle behaves and this is how a return is made. But putting everything in one basket, I think that is not recommended.
The second question is again related to psychology. भारी word है, मैं मान रही हूँ, but अगर फिर भी आपको कुछ कुछ tips देने हो to our investors in terms of how can they have a good control over their psychology, or how can they actually learn, I mean not learn, but like hold there when needed or exit when needed in such instances. What would you say कि उनकी psychology कैसी होनी चाहिए in tough times and good times when it comes to small caps in general?
पहले तो ये रोज मार्केट मत देखो. Watching market every day is detrimental to portfolio health.
I think to one individual health also.
First, portfolio health, whether how will you individually take it will be different, because somebody will say aaj itna down hai, let us invest and make money, so that's an opportunity. But don't watch it on a regular basis, because most of the time the wealth is created when you have not seen the portfolio for some time, over a period of time.
Has it happened with you?
It's happened in a couple of instances. I actually forgot where I had invested some old funds. When I look at those values today, they've grown, and it's largely because probably you don't track it on a daily basis. So that is one. Second, of course, it's your investment, so do track it, but track it periodically. आप 3 महीने में एक बार देख लिया, 6 महीने में देख लिया, 1 साल में देख लिया, and again I'll come to it that your commitment to your investing SIPs, that should be perpetual. Review if something is not working over a longer period of time. See, people conclude very quickly कि ये फंड अच्छा ही नहीं कर रहा. For economy also to be saying it's a recession ना 3 quarter खराब होने पड़ते हैं. वो 3 quarter in fund terminology can be slightly longer period, right? तो आप वो देखो, potential देखो, and where you are investing you see the track record also. आप एयरलाइन का टिकट ले रहे हो तो आप बैठते हो तब आप नहीं पूछते कि ये अपना पायलट का क्वालिफिकेशन क्या है. यू आर ट्रस्टिंग दैट एयरलाइन बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट हैज़ गिवन इट्स परमिशन, आईटा हैज़ लुक्ड एट द रूल्स, राइट, एंड एवरीथिंग, यू नो दैट ओके इट्स सेफ एंड साउंड. and then you're getting into it. And जब turbulence है mid-air, you have no choice but to buckle up and sit down quietly and trust that those guys know the job of what they're doing, and they will land it, right? So that is what I think you need to do when in tough times, difficult times. I think the people who come out of it actually make money and also see to it that they are not flustered by what is happening are the ones who do the basics right.
So basically, an investor has to see an entire cycle of ups and downs to actually realize how to go about investing.
Correct.
Right? You got it.
And since you mentioned about, and this is slow rapid fire, so I'm taking my time. Since you mentioned about tips, right? See, a large part of the investor generations have learned it the hard way, right? We also made mistakes in our early days of kahan invest karna hai, and have chosen something which is right now the hot topic, the moment, and we have done it. The benefit that your audience today has is all these grey-haired professionals who are coming and talking about that these are the mistakes, try to avoid. Some mistakes will happen because it is human. It's human to err, right? So वो होंगे, लेकिन आप जो बाकी चीज़ों से सीख सकते हो, and the beauty which is available today is information is available. You can go and backtrack and see that okay, this is the patterns which happened. I think when we were growing up, there was not so much information, so we were not able to go back and research history क्या हो रहा है. आज those things are available. Even on your platform, it is available. You can go and see this is how it behaved over a period of time. So, okay, this is the cycle. This get repeated over so many years, and 4-year cycle, 5-year cycle, 10-year cycles. I think that information you should make use of it. So, if you're doing a lot of research, do look at this also. That in difficult periods, what are the things which have done well?
Right. So usually investors only look at maybe returns.
Yes.
कैसा चल रहा है, and somewhere risks also. But there's like a lot of things that one should actually research about, look into, analyze the past trends and patterns, and then take a call and then invest. Usse, I think you are also confident in what you've invested in, and you know that even if वो एक cycle के through जा रहा है, ups or downs, you know what your goal is or what your research is, and then you can make some adjustments, modifications, or stay invested in.
Correct. So do look at any fund performance. Do like calendar year return. It's a 10-year track, 15-year track, 20-year track. Look at calendar year wise each year what has happened.
Right.
Whether it has outperformed the benchmark.
Right.
That will give you the factor of consistency.
Right.
That how consistent this fund is.
That's a great one. Okay. Now, last is that how is Mirae Asset Small Cap Fund, which is going to launch, different from the other small cap funds that is there? क्या ऐसी approach आप लोगों ने ली है, which will probably be different and unique from the other already existing funds in the market?
See, from a construct point of view, from a definition of small cap, they are all same, right? So whether you're talking A fund house or B fund house or A fund house, 65% of the portfolio has to be built with stocks which are between market cap of 251 to 500, right? Now it comes about what segment you are convinced with and how your fund manager is nimble-footed to manage it, because you need a lot of agility in this space.
Yeah, of course.
Correct? So A as a house, and let me ask you a question. If you go to the ATM, then apart from the AC, what is your requirement?
Apart from the AC.
Yeah, sometimes it's hot, so you want the AC.
Okay, I think apart from the basic necessity of taking out the money, it has to be a guard that is there.
Okay, from a security point. But
Yeah.
cash,
Yeah,
right?
basic
You're
cash,
going to
yeah.
ATM not to
Cash.
do anything else but
Yeah.
cash, correct? If you're not able to withdraw, you have the money in your account, but if you're not able to withdraw, how do you feel?
Disappointed.
So you walk up to the next one, because generally these 2-3 now are together.
Right.
Most of those places, right? So you go to the second one. and you don't find it, then there is more hurt. And high possibility तीनों में नहीं होगा क्योंकि कैश वैन नहीं आया है सुबह, right? Now this is first rule of building portfolio. The day I need to redeem, the day I need to sell those stocks, I should be able to sell it without a price impact. And that becomes very crucial in small caps. So what is a price impact? You've bought 10,000 shares at 1,000 rupees for a stock, and say that stock has run up to 4,000, right? And today you want to sell, so you are able to sell only 1,000 stocks at 4,000, and the price falls to 3,800 because there is less liquidity. So you go again and try to sell another 1,000, and you are only able to sell like 700, and the price falls. So by the time you have exited the whole thing, instead of that 3x return that you generated, now you're down to say 1x. So you've lost out on a lot of that because उस स्टॉक में डेप्थ नहीं था, लिक्विडिटी नहीं थी, ब्रेथ नहीं था. So we, as our house strategy, we generally stay away from leverage companies. Okay, so in mid and small, it's you look at EBITDA earnings. That probably gives you much more clarity. Like let me give an example, like a construction business. It's easy to sort of show 100 crores profit, but working capital is difficult. Right? So if you avoid leverage companies in that way, and you look at stocks which have generally healthy EBITDAs, then you will be avoiding all these pockets where you will have these price impact issues. So while we approach our small cap, we will abide by these rules, and it's not something that we are doing only for small caps. And today, when our company was 200 crores company back in 2008, we still applied the same rules. And that's the reason why most of the funds at Mirae Asset over a period of time have shown healthy track records, is because you stay true to what you feel as a house and what the investors are then looking for. Investors don't want the most flashiest of returns, they want more consistency of returns. And that's something as a house we've always abided to, and we'll continue to do that. As we are building a portfolio today, as things are changing in the underlyings, we feel there's a lot of opportunity which is there, a lot of IPOs. In fact, day before yesterday, I think there was a news article which talked about that India now has the highest number of IPOs coming out in Asia. We have overtaken China. Last year, 9% of global IPO activity happened from India. And a large part of them came in small caps. FIs are now investing in mid and small. Right? So they are also seeing that the growth of India which is happening. And a lot of these sectors probably are not available in your main indexes. So we feel there is opportunity to build a new portfolio today. And if the capex cycle sort of revives from here, we are already seeing those signs. A lot of subsectors are part of the small cap universe. And like I said, we may not be the best marketable period for small cap, but I think great businesses start during difficult times. So yeah.
Right. So now just to wrap things up, if you have certain, if you would just like to address some misconceptions that usually investors have in their minds when it comes to small cap funds, or any final words that you would like to, give to talk about with our investors so that they have that conviction and that confidence to start investing and staying consistent, what would those be?
It is not a stock. Small cap funds is not equal to a stock where you get in and get out very easily. It's over a period of time, and finding 30, 40, 50 good ideas and executing it is a lot of hard work, a lot of effort. So do not judge it by a 1 year performance, 2 year performance. You'll have to give it time. And the biggest misconception that people have is it's like overnight पैसा बनेगा. किसी भी चीज़ में overnight नहीं बनता. समय लगता है and you have to find those right. So I was making a presentation to a group of doctors the other day, and I showed them a picture about operating theatre where the patient is looking up to 7 doctors working on him, and I asked him, is this risk? And they said, some of them said yes. And I said, as a patient, I don't feel it's a risk. I can see qualified professionals working on me, right? The same thing with mutual funds. You have qualified professionals working for your hard-earned money. So that's what I leave it to, that it's not about hitting home runs after home runs. It's about collectively that portfolio working for everyone together, which will eventually yield you good results. And don't avoid small caps only because misconception it's too risky, we should not do it. That way there is risk for the entire investing. So have that, but don't have a 100% portfolio in small cap, don't have a 50% small cap portfolio, but a 15-20% allocation to small caps in a portfolio in India, that's good.
That's great. So wealth building is a long-term game, and time and consistency is the key for our investors, even when it comes to small caps. And that is also, I think, what our investors should understand, and then have that conviction to continue investing in small caps.
Yes.
That's it. So thank you guys. Thank you for watching Dhan.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.